Well, MS-13 was growing, but it was somewhat disorganized, I guess. It was
Right.
cliques,
Right.
friends doing various things. But then in 1990, a guy named Ernesto Deras came around. Are you familiar with him?
Might have heard of him.
So he was actually a former member of the Salvadorian Special Forces,
Mm-hmm.
and he was trained in Panama by the United States Green Berets.
Mm-hmm.
And once he actually got into MS-13 and started becoming a leader, he actually used the military training that he learned from the U.S. to actually organize MS-13 into more of an organized gang.
No.
No, you
No.
don't know about this at all.
Well, I haven't heard of it, so I don't think one person will have that pool to go ahead and organize the stuff like that. You always hear about MS-13, about militant people joining the gang.
Yeah.
When I grew up, I would probably say 1 to 2% maybe where they had some type of militant influence. But there wouldn't be one person who went ahead and said, okay, now this is a whole military operation. Because if that started in El Salvador, then that would have probably trickled down to the United States. And
Well, this was actually in the United States, from what I understand.
in the United States,
I believe so, yeah.
no,
No?
no.
No? Okay, so maybe I'm wrong about that. It's just very ironic, though, that the Green Berets taught a guy who ended up using that in MS-13.
Well, the School of the Americas taught a whole lot of the
Yeah.
excuse me, not the guerrilla, but the government in El Salvador on how to go ahead and use the tactics over there.
Well, at what point did the beef with 18th Street Gang start?
Well, it started. There's different stories to it, right? These are like folk tales, if you will, and the one that's probably more accurate to me. And just like gang stuff, sometimes it starts over a girl. You took my girl,
That's
or
what I
now
heard.
she's messing with
Right.
you.
Because at one point, 18th Street and MS-13 were actually friendly with each other.
Right.
And then a situation with a girl.
A situation with a girl happened at a party, and I believe it was an 18th Street member that got shot, and that went ahead and started the war between MS and 18th Streets.
And that's now spread into other countries as well. So in El Salvador, you have 18th Street.
And in El Salvador, you have 18th Street, you have 18th Streets, and yeah, in different parts
Different parts of the
right,
world.
in different parts of the world as well. And this war, probably about 9 or 10 years ago, there was a peace treaty in El Salvador where the government in El Salvador was negotiating with MS-13 members and 18th Street members right there. And they were starting to, and what they were asking was the stuff that I just said right now about mental health services, better food, being able for both gangs to see their families as well, some type of better clothes. And when you're in El Salvador, I mean, you're wearing what you're wearing for weeks upon months. So as soon as the United States caught wind that the government was dealing or negotiating with the gang members, the government in El Salvador went ahead and got scared off and said, no, we're not dealing with them. And that's when the talks stopped. And in El Salvador, I believe the murder rate right there was, it was about 15 per day. When the peace treaty started, you were having 1 or 2 per day, which, I mean, that's still bad. I mean, anybody being killed is still bad, but you could see the demographics, changed as well.
I mean, it's just interesting how these wars will start over a girl. Like,
Yeah,
like for example,
unfortunately.
like in LA, you have the war between the Rolling 60s and the H-Ray gangsters.
Right.
And that started over a girl. A girl was seeing, a guy from each of these crews. A fight broke out. Someone got killed. Then the other side retaliated. And then 30 years later, you have literally hundreds of people dead over a couple of teenagers
Right.
fighting over a girl
Right.
who, probably went on and messed with someone else right afterwards.
Right. And a lot of times it's trying to even understand what that girl was going through herself.
Yeah.
Why was she even there? What was the pain that she was going through as well?
Yeah.